Jai Hind, dear children. We are continuing the problems from understanding quadrilaterals. What are the topics discussed in the first video, children? Sum of the measures of the exterior angles of a polygon is 360 degrees. Exterior angle and interior angles of a point in a polygon form a linear pair. And number of sides of any regular polygon is 3 divided by each exterior angle. So children, we are continuing the exercise 3.2. You are having 2 more problems in the exercise. So we can solve that problems now. Come to the question. Is it possible to have a regular polygon with measure of each exterior angle as 22 degrees? And the second part of the question is, can it be an interior angle of a regular polygon and why? So you understood the meaning of the question? There is a regular polygon and it is asked, is it possible to have a regular polygon with measure of each exterior angle as 22 degrees? So that is, that in that regular polygon each exterior angle value is given 22 degrees and it is asked, is it possible? That is, this 22 degree is the value of exterior angle that is possible or not. Is it true or false? Okay, so you want to check whether this 22 degree can come as the exterior angle, as each exterior angle, okay, value of each angle to be 22 degree or not. Okay, so in the previous video, what did you study, children? To determine the number of sides of the polygon, regular polygon, that you know that the total sum of exterior angles is 360 degrees, correct? And for finding each side, or for finding the number of sides of the polygon, what did you do there? You are dividing this total 360 degree by each exterior angle, correct? So this is the this is the idea, this is the relation how we are finding the number of sides of the regular polygon. Okay, the total exterior angle sum is equal of any polygon is 360 degree. We are dividing that by each exterior angle. We will get the number of sides of the polygon. So this we can use here to find the number of sides of the polygon. Okay, so let us start our answer. How to write? Given each exterior angle of the regular polygon, how much it is given? It is given 22 degrees. Okay, so each exterior angle is given 22 degrees. Now what we know? We know sum of exterior angles of any polygon. For any polygon, what is the sum of exterior angles? We studied already, 360 degrees. Okay, therefore we are going to find out the number of sides of the polygon. Okay, so therefore number of sides of the polygon is equal to, what we do? We want to divide this total angle by each angle, 22 degrees. Yes, so how to divide? We can reduce. You know how to reduce a fraction. Okay, so 360 divided by 22. Okay, first we can reduce by 2 table. 1 2 is 2, 1 2 is 2. Here 1 2 is 2, remaining 1. 8 2s are 16, 0. Okay, now what you got here? 180 by 11. You know 11 is a prime number and so it cannot be divided further. Okay, so you are getting here a fraction and whenever you are dividing a fraction, we will get a decimal factor. No, 180 is not divisible by 11, so that if you divide this 180 by 11, you will get a decimal number. And so my question is, if you are getting a decimal number here, is it correct that number of sides of the polygon can be a decimal number? No, number of sides means it is always a whole number. We can tell there are 3 sides, there are 5 sides, there are 10 sides, there are 20 sides. But we will not tell number of sides any time in a decimal number. Okay, it cannot be a fraction. So that what is the meaning here? This 360 by 22 is meaningless. We can write like that, meaningless, because when you divide this 360 by 22, it is not dividing and we are getting a fraction part, and it cannot match the number of sides of the polygon. So this value is meaningless. So if this value is meaningless, what is the meaning? What is the conclusion of our question? Yes, is it possible? That is the question. Is it possible to have a regular polygon with each exterior angle 22 degrees? So because we got this 360 by 22 is meaningless, what is the conclusion, children? So is it possible? So a regular polygon cannot have, okay, cannot have each exterior angle equal to 22 degrees. Okay, so this is the answer of the first part of the question. Okay, so first part is over. We checked for number of sides, we got a fraction. It is not possible, so it is meaningless. So the polygon cannot have exterior angle each equal to 22 degrees. Over. Now come to the second part of the question. Can it be an interior angle? So 22 degree cannot be an exterior angle, we concluded here. Now can it be an interior angle of a regular polygon? So what you want to do there? Here you considered this 22 degree as exterior angle and you got wrong answer. Similar way you want to do, if 22 degree is an interior angle, then can it be possible? And if not possible, you want to write why, what is the reason. Okay, so we are going to see the second part of the question. Yes, now we are continuing the second part of the question. Okay, what is the second part? Can it be an interior angle? Can it be means, can this 22 degree be an interior angle of this regular polygon, and why? Okay, so here is the answer for this question. Okay, so answer B I am writing here. So how to start? Let 22 degree, okay, suppose this be the interior angle of the regular polygon. Okay, in the first case we proved that it cannot be an exterior angle because 360 degree is not divisible by 22 and it is coming decimal number. So that we are now checking the second part. Okay, 22 degree be the interior angle. So when 22 degree is the interior angle, that also you learned from the previous video. If interior angle is given, how to find the exterior angle, children? Yes, if this is a polygon, okay, if a polygon is there, when we extend a side, exterior angle is formed, and this interior angle and exterior angle are linear pairs. You studied in the previous video. Okay, so here what we have taken, this interior angle is 22 degrees. So when the interior angle is 22 degrees, exterior angle is 180 minus 22, because interior angle and exterior angle together form 180 degrees. They are linear pairs. Okay. So here if you assume this 22 degree to be the interior angle of the regular polygon, then therefore each exterior angle is equal to 180 degree minus 22. Correct? Understood all of you? Yes. So what is 180 minus 22? 180 minus 22 is, yes, 10 minus 2 is 8, 5 and 1. Okay, all of you check this. So you are getting 158 degrees. So what is this, children? If 22 degree we are assuming as the interior angle of the regular polygon, then exterior angle we are finding by subtracting from 180, because exterior angle and interior angle together form linear pair in a polygon. Okay. Now you got each exterior angle. Now again come to the previous condition. If we need to find the number of sides of this polygon, what we will do? Like the first part, we want to divide total sum of exterior angle divided by this each exterior angle. Okay. In the first part we did the same thing. Okay. Each exterior angle we are dividing by that 360 by that each exterior angle. The same thing we are finding here also. Okay. So how to write the next step? Therefore number of sides of the regular polygon is equal to, how to do? Yes, total sum of the exterior angles 360 degrees divided by each angle. What we got each exterior angle now? 158 degree. Okay. So if this is the exterior angle, we need to find the number of sides using this term. Now if you cancel this, what happens? 360 and 158 again you can cancel by 2 table. 1 2 is 2, 8 2s are 16, 0. Here 7 2s are 14, then remaining 1, 9 2s are 18. Okay. Now here also you can see that this reduced form 180 by 79 will not divide completely, and this will be also a decimal number. Okay. So this is also meaningless. This is meaningless. Okay. So here also 180 cannot be divisible by 179, so that this is also a decimal number, and it cannot be the number of sides of the regular polygon, because number of sides is always taken as a whole number. Okay. So because this came meaningless, here also what is the conclusion? Therefore 22 degree cannot be what angle? Interior angle also. Okay. Cannot be an interior angle of the regular polygon. Okay. So that is the answer for this second part of that question. So in the first part, once more, first part we assumed it as exterior angle, and to find the number of sides of the polygon we divided sum of exterior angles by that 22, but it cannot divide, so that it is meaningless and it cannot be the exterior angle of the polygon. Now second part, what we did, we assumed it as interior angle, and interior angle from you found the exterior angle 180 minus that angle. Again the division is not possible, so it cannot be an interior angle also. Okay. So that is the answer of the question. Yes. Now you need to see one more question here. So let us see that. Now here is the second question. All of you see here. What is the minimum interior angle possible for a regular polygon? Why? Second part, what is the maximum exterior angle possible for a regular polygon? Okay, so here you are discussing what is the minimum interior angle. Minimum means the least. Okay, so what is the value of the interior angle minimum, that is the least value possible for a regular polygon? Okay, so this type of questions you need to think and answer. Okay, so here it is asked minimum interior angle of a regular polygon. So here we need to discuss the regular polygon which is having minimum number of sides. Okay, so that is the meaning. Here we cannot consider any of the polygon with any number of sides, because it is asked minimum interior angle. You need to consider the polygon with minimum number of sides. Can you say who is the polygon with the minimum number of sides? Yes, very good. The minimum number of sides that can be a polygon is a triangle, because if there are two sides we cannot draw a polygon, but if there are three sides we can construct a triangle. So triangle is the polygon. Okay, so triangle is the polygon which is having minimum sides. Understand? So here we want to consider which polygon, which regular polygon? Yes, triangle. Understand? So we need to answer this type of question using proper reasons. Okay, so how to start the answer, all of you listen. The first part, how to start, because it is given regular polygon. Regular means all the sides are equal. So here triangle we want to take because it is having minimum number of sides, and in a triangle if all the sides are equal, what is that triangle called? Equilateral triangle. Okay, so we are considering here the polygon, this polygon what is told in this question is an equilateral triangle. Okay, yes, and since it is a regular polygon, okay, the equilateral triangle is a regular polygon, each interior angle is equal to, can you say how much? You have learned all these in previous classes. Can you say in an equilateral triangle, if I am drawing an equilateral triangle like this, all the three sides are equal, can you tell what is each angle there? Yes, you have learned. If we consider this equilateral triangle means all the three angles also same, and if you consider this x, you know by angle sum property of a triangle, the sum of the angles is 180 degree. So x plus x, that is 3x is equal to 180 degree, and each angle is 180 divided by 3, that is equal to 60 degrees. So each angle in an equilateral triangle is 60 degrees. Okay, so here this 60 degree is the interior angle. That only we are discussing here. Okay, that is our question. What is the minimum interior angle possible for a regular polygon? So the regular polygon is equilateral triangle. So each interior angle is equal to how much? 60 degrees. Okay. Understand? So what is the minimum interior angle for a regular polygon? 60 degree. Understand? And here it is asked why? Because we can mention here using angle sum property of the triangle. Using angle sum property of the triangle, we got each interior angle is equal to 60 degrees. Understood? Now come to the second part of the question. What is the second part? What is the maximum exterior angle possible for a regular polygon? Okay, so minimum means the least value. Maximum means what will you do? If interior angle we know, how to find the exterior angle, that we discussed in the previous problem. Okay, how we do that? You want to consider the exterior angle and interior angle together form 180 degree. We learned in previous question. Okay, likewise here also interior angle, the minimum value is 60 degree means what will be the maximum value of the exterior angle? Yes, you want to subtract from 180. So how to write the second answer? If the interior angle is equal to 60 degrees. Okay, so when the minimum interior angle is 60 degree, then each exterior angle is equal to 180 minus 60. Anytime when interior angle is given and exterior angle we need to find out, you want to subtract from 180. Don't forget that, because interior angle and exterior angle together form a linear pair. Okay, so what is the value of each exterior angle? 180 minus 160 is 120 degrees. Okay, so when the interior angle is minimum value 60 degree, then exterior angle will be the maximum value 120 degree. Understand? So when the interior angle is the minimum, exterior angle will be the maximum. Okay, so that is the meaning of this question. So minimum interior angle we found 60 degree. Now what is the maximum exterior angle? So you want to subtract from 180, and that 120 degree is the value of maximum exterior angle possible for regular polygon. Which regular polygon here? Equilateral triangle. So how to conclude the answer? Thus 120 degree is the maximum exterior angle possible for this equilateral triangle. Understand? So here in this question we are discussing equilateral triangle because it is the regular polygon of minimum sides. Okay, and we found each interior angle is 60 degree for an equilateral triangle, and if this interior angle is the value, then the maximum value will be 180 minus 60, that is 120 degree. Okay, so these two problems from the exercise are very important. All of you revise this, read this proper, and study these answers with proper reasons. Okay children, so your first part of the lesson is over. Now we are going to the second part of your lesson. Okay, so now we are going to study the different kinds of quadrilaterals and their properties. So this is the next section children, kinds of quadrilaterals. Okay, so what are the different kinds of quadrilaterals we are going to see in this section. You know already what are the kinds of types of quadrilaterals. You may have learned in previous classes. We know quadrilaterals are four-sided figures, and many four-sided figures, you know their names also, but we are studying one by one in this lesson. So first quadrilateral what we are going to study here is trapezium. Okay, trapezium. It is also called trapezoid. So it has two names. Sometimes it can be called trapezoid, and sometimes usually we are calling trapezium. Okay, and here you see I have drawn different types of trapezium. In all this it has how many sides? 4 sides. Okay, so generally it is a quadrilateral. Now all these notes what I have written here, you want to copy in your notes. It is all important. Or draw the figures also properly. Use pencil for drawing the figures. Okay, don't draw with pen, use pencil. Now read what is a trapezium here. Trapezium is a quadrilateral with a pair of parallel sides. Okay, so trapezium is a quadrilateral with a pair of parallel sides. What do you mean by parallel sides? You know parallel lines? Yes, parallel lines are two lines which never meet each other and goes in the same direction. Okay, if we are considering two lines, it can be this way or it can be this way also, correct? So they are moving in the same direction, but the important point is the distance between two parallel lines are equidistant. They are moving in the same distance. Okay, the distance between the two parallel lines will be same and they never meet each other. Okay, so they are called parallel lines. Parallel lines. Okay, do you remember children? Parallel lines are a pair of lines that have a fixed distance between them and they never meet each other. Okay, so here in trapezium, it is a quadrilateral with a pair of parallel sides. You see here it is a trapezium drawn and you see a pair means only one pair. So in this figure you can take this side is parallel to this side. Okay, so these two sides are parallel, other sides are not parallel. Okay, so this type of one pair of parallel sides are coming, then that quadrilateral is called a trapezium. Here in this figure you can say this side is parallel to this side. Okay, so it is a trapezium. And here you see we can say they are not parallel. This side and this side are parallel. Okay, and the distance between them will be also same. That you will learn further. Now you are just telling about parallel sides. And you see in this figure these two sides are not equal. We can tell these two sides are parallel. Okay, so in all these figures one pair of parallel sides are present in the quadrilateral, and so all these are types of trapezium. Understand? So trapezium is a quadrilateral with a pair of parallel sides. Now what is given next? If the non-parallel sides, so if these two are parallel sides, so what about the other two sides? They are called non-parallel sides. And what about that non-parallel sides? In some cases this two other sides can be equal length. Okay, can be equal length means if this side is 5 centimeters, then this side can also be 5 centimeters in some cases. But in some other cases, if this side is 7 centimeter, this side will be 5 centimeter. Okay, so what is the meaning? In some trapezium, the non-parallel sides can be equal length, and in some cases the non-parallel sides may be different length. Okay, so that only discussed in this second paragraph. If the non-parallel sides of a trapezium are of equal length, okay, if they are having equal length, then we call it an isosceles trapezium. Okay, so this is also one specific name here. And what do you mean by isosceles trapezium? In a trapezium, when the non-parallel sides are coming equal length, then it is isosceles trapezium. And like this case, like this, if the non-parallel sides are different length, if not equal, if they are not equal length, then it is called scalene trapezium. You know a scalene triangle, no? In a scalene triangle, what you will tell? All the sides are unequal. They are of different length. That is a scalene triangle. Similarly, this name is mentioned because the non-parallel sides are of different length. Okay, so this is the definition and introduction about trapezium. A trapezium is a quadrilateral with a pair of parallel sides, and it has a pair of non-parallel sides. If the non-parallel sides are equal length, then it is isosceles trapezium, and if they are not equal length, it is called skeleton trapezium. Okay, so this all you read, understand and keep it in your memory. Okay, so all this you want to know about. First property of a trapezium. Yes, look at this figure. This is a trapezium I have drawn. The name is ABCD, and here we have a pair of parallel sides AB and CD, okay, or DC. So AB parallel to DC. You can just represent like this also. AB parallel symbol we use like this. AB parallel to CD. Okay, usually we write like this in short form. The meaning of these two lines is parallel. Okay, so a AB parallel to CD is the parallel lines, parallel sides here in this trapezium. Now you see what is the first property. The sum of interior angles formed by parallel lines are supplementary. The sum of interior angles formed by parallel lines. That means here these are two parallel lines. Okay, and the interior angles formed in between these two parallel lines are supplementary. What do you mean by supplementary? Supplementary means the total is 180 degrees. The sum is 180 degree. Those angles are called supplementary angles. Okay, so here how this interior angles became supplementary? You remember in when you studied parallel lines, you learned like this. When two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, you remember, cut by a transversal, the interior angles are supplementary. Did you remember that? Yes, using the same concept only. The interior angles here is supplementary 180 degree. The same concept only you are using here. You see, for this side AB and this side CD, this side AD act as a transversal. Okay, so when this come as a transversal, these two are supplementary. Okay, so that only it is written measure of angle A plus measure of angle D. These two form 180 degree. Understand? Similarly, what we can tell in the other side, these two angles, angle B and angle C, they are also two interior angles. AB is the side parallel to CD, and this line also act as a transversal, so that these two angles are also supplementary. So what we can write there? Measure of angle B plus measure of angle C is also supplementary, that is 180 degrees. Understood? So this is the first property we want to know about trapezium. In a trapezium, the sum of interior angles formed by these parallel lines are supplementary. Now children, using the property of the trapezium we discussed, we are going to see a problem from your exercise. Okay, what is the question? Explain how this figure is a trapezium. Also, which of its two sides are parallel. Okay, so a figure is given. It is not told that this is a trapezium. Okay, it is not given this is a trapezium. Explain how this figure is a trapezium. We need to explain how this came a trapezium. Okay, so we need to tell with the reason why this is a trapezium. Also, which of its two sides are parallel. So no sides are parallel given in the figure. We need to find out which two sides are parallel and why this is a trapezium. Okay, so this is also we need to answer with the reason. Okay, now come to the figure. Here we can see a quadrilateral like a trapezium. Okay, like a trapezium, we are going to prove only it is a trapezium. The name is KLMN, and you can see here interior angles, adjacent interior angles. One is 100 degree. What is the name of this angle? How we can read this? Angle NMP. L. Always where the angle is coming, that alphabet want to come in the middle. Okay, so angle NML is 100 degrees. And what is the name of this angle? KLM or MLK. Okay, anyways, this angle letter want to come in the middle. So here you see these two angles, when you add, what is the sum here? 100 plus 80, that is 180 degree. So what do you understand from this? The sum of the adjacent interior angles came 180 degree. So how it is true? How it is possible? How it can be possible this interior angles is supplementary? Only if the two opposite sides are, that is, this we told this act like a transversal. Okay, so if this want to be transversal such that co-interior angles are the consecutive interior angles are 180 degree, then it is possible only if that opposite sides are parallel. Understand? So that is the reason we are going to tell now. So how to start the answer? Listen. Here given, what is given? Angle symbol you put like this. What is the angle? NML equal to 100 degrees given. And what is the name of this angle? KLM. KLM is given 80 degrees. Okay. Now you add these two angles. This implies NML plus KLM equal to 100 plus 80, that is 180 degree. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? This implies the sum of consecutive interior angles. Okay, so the consecutive interior angle sum came 180 degree. Okay, so this is possible if this condition, that is the sum, if 180 degree is coming, it is possible only if what two lines are parallel? These opposite sides. Okay, where this interior angles are formed, that opposite sides should be parallel. Okay, only if this KL is parallel to NM. Understand, children? So this 180 degree, because it is coming and they are consecutive interior angles and they are 180 degree, they are supplementary. So that the only condition is this opposite sides of the quadrilateral should be parallel. Okay, that is KL parallel to NM. Understand? So if now you see in this quadrilateral we got a pair of parallel sides. So because there are one pair of parallel sides, what is the name of this figure? Yes, this is a trapezium. So thus it is proved that is we came to a conclusion that what is the name of this figure? KLMN is a trapezium. Understand? Okay, so how did we come to the answer? We are taking the sum of the interior angles, and because it is 180 degree, this will come only if the opposite sides are parallel, and because we got a pair of parallel sides in this quadrilateral, this must be a trapezium. Okay, yes, hope you understood. Now we are going to the second question. Now see this question. Find the measure of angle P and angle S if SP parallel to RQ. What is the meaning of this bar? This bar means it is a line segment. Okay, line segment. That also you have studied earlier. So you want to read this at SP parallel to RQ shown in the figure. Okay, now here it is a figure shown here, a quadrilateral here. The name is PQRS. And what is given here? SP is parallel to RQ. Okay, find the measure of angle P and angle S. If means it is given. If means it is given. Okay, so SP. Where is SP? This is the line segment SP. So this side is parallel to RQ. Understand? So these two sides are parallel to each other. So one pair of parallel sides. So what is this figure then? This is a trapezium. Okay, so this is a trapezium. And what you want to find out? Find the measure of P and S. So we want to find this angle. Find the measure of this P. We don't know what is P and we don't know what is S. Okay, so these two angles we need to find out from this given trapezium. Okay, so how to find out, children? Any idea? Yes, so you want to use the property of the trapezium here. Here you see these two angles are given. What is the symbol? This symbol, what is the meaning? Yes, this is right angle, 90 degrees. Okay, this symbol refers to 90 degrees. And here one angle is given, 130 degrees. Okay, so these two remaining angles we need to find out. Can you find out this which angle from S and P which is easy to find out first? Yes, because this is a trapezium and these are parallel sides. What is this line? What is this line PQ? For this parallel lines SP and RQ, what is this in between side? Yes, this line stands like a transversal. Okay, that only we are discussing. Okay, so between these two parallel sides, this side PQ acts as a transversal, so that what property you know? The consecutive interior angles are supplementary. Understand? So 130 and this angle together make 180 degrees. That is the meaning. Now can you find out what is angle P? Yes, because this sum is 180 degree, you can find this angle by subtracting 130 from the total sum of this interior angles. Okay, so how to start the problem? All of you listen. Given, what is given? SP parallel to RQ. Okay, the two sides are parallel, and thus because these two sides are parallel, PQRS is a trapezium. Understand? So this figure is a trapezium. Now this implies, okay, so this implies we can write directly angle, that is measure of angle P plus measure of angle Q equal to 180 degree. Okay, these two angles are supplementary. They are co-interior, that is consecutive interior angles. Understand? So that is the property of the trapezium. They are consecutive interior angles, so their sum is 180 degree. So this implies, then how to find measure of P, children? Measure of P is equal to 180 degree. You know, this is like an equation. So measure of angle Q is given here. How much? 130 degrees. So 180 minus 130 degrees. What is the answer? 50 degree. Okay, so we got this angle P is 50 degrees. Okay, so our one answer is over. Now we want to find out what is measure of angle S. Yes, how to find out, children? Any idea you have? This also you learned in the previous video. You see, this is a quadrilateral and already you have three angles. This is 90 degree, This is 130 degree and this you got now 50 degrees. So how to find the fourth angle, children? Yes, by using the angle sum property of this quadrilateral, we can find out the value of angle S. Okay, and can you say what is the angle sum property of a quadrilateral? Yes, it is 360 degrees. Okay, so next line, therefore by angle sum property, measure of angle S is equal to, how can we find out what is the total angle? 360 degree. Okay, 360 degree is the total angle of the trapezium, minus you want to add this 3. Okay, that is once you write like this, measure of angle P plus measure of angle Q plus measure of angle R. You understood the meaning? These 3 angles we are adding and subtracting from the total angle. So that is equal to 360 minus, yes, put the value. What is the measure of angle P you got now? 50. Measure of Q is already given, 130, and the measure of R, the symbol is given, it is 90. Now you see what you want to do. These 3 angles you want to add, that is 50 plus 130 plus 90. When you add, you will get total 270. Okay, so all of you do in the working column this answer, you will get 270. Then that 270 you want to subtract from 360. 360 minus 270. So you will get the answer is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so that is the answer for value of angle S. Understand? So thus we got the 2 unknown angles. Measure of angle P is 50 degrees and measure of angle S is 90 degrees. So understood these 2 problems from the trapezium? Okay, now we are going to the next type of quadrilateral. Our next quadrilateral is a kite. All of you know what is a kite? Yes, usually you know to make kites maybe. And how you are making kite? What is the shape of the kite? Yes, this is the shape of the kite. Okay, and today we are going to learn more about kite. And you may have know what is a kite and what is the shape already, but you are going to study the new properties of kite in this chapter. So that is the thing. Now we are reading what is a kite. Kite is a special type of a quadrilateral. Okay, kite is also a quadrilateral. It is a special type of quadrilateral and it is having some specialities also. And you know a quadrilateral is having always 4 sides. Okay, so this kite is also having 4 sides, which has exactly 2 distinct consecutive pairs. Okay, that is consecutive pairs means consecutive pairs of sides of equal length. Understand? So that is, in a kite, if it is the shape of a kite, then what are the consecutive sides? Yes, if this side and this side are consecutive. Why they are consecutive? Because they are having a common vertex. These 2 sides are having a common vertex. So they are consecutive sides. So what is given? The consecutive sides are equal length. So these 2 sides are equal. Understand? If this is 7 centimeter in length, then this is also 7 centimeter in length. Understand? And these 2 sides are equal. Understand? So if this side we are taking 11 centimeter, this is also 11 centimeter. Understand? So that is the meaning of definition of a kite. So once more read out. Kite is a special type of a quadrilateral which has exactly 2 distinct consecutive pairs. 2 distinct means these 2 sides are not equal. They are distinct. But these 2 consecutive sides are equal. Okay. So they are distinct pairs of sides having equal length. Now you see, this is another model of a kite. Here we can say this side and this side are consecutive, they are equal, and they are other two sides which are equal. Okay, so this is also a model of a kite. And here you see I have drawn another figure. Here you can say this side and this side are consecutive pairs, they are equal, and this side and this side are other consecutive pair, they are equal. So all these are models of kite. Understand? So this is a kite, this is also a kite. Understood all of you? So the first pair consecutive are equal and the next two pairs are also equal. Now we are going to see more properties about kite. So what are the properties? One by one we can see. The first one is a kite has four sides. Okay, because it is a quadrilateral, it has four sides. Now you see here I have drawn a kite here and I have named A, B, C, D. Okay, and you see this side and this side, they are consecutive pairs equal, and this side equal. That means AB equal to AD, BC equal to CD. So that is the figure I have drawn here. Now you see triangle ABC and triangle ADC are congruent. You see here I have drawn the diagonal, only one diagonal I have drawn. What is the diagonal? AC. Okay, in a quadrilateral you know there are two diagonals. So here I have drawn one diagonal. So when I draw this diagonal, I got two triangles on either side. What is the name of this triangle? This triangle ABC. Okay, so this triangle, and what is the second triangle here? ADC. So what is the similarity of these two triangles? They are congruent. What do you mean by congruent? They are equal triangles with the equal sides. Okay, means you see you have learned that criteria of congruent triangles in 7th standard. Side. You remember? Yes. Okay. So here you see this, in these two triangles AB is equal to AD. One side is equal. Similarly BC is equal to CD. Okay. So one more side equal, and you see this diagonal. This diagonal is the common side. This is the common side for these two triangles. So that side is also equal. So you remember by SSS axiom. What you can say? The two triangles are congruent. Okay, so that is also one property of trapezium. When you draw the diagonal of the trapezium, the triangles that is forming on either sides are congruent. Understood, children? So that is the second property. Triangle ABC and triangle ADC are congruent. Now come to the third point. Now so this figure about over. Now come to this figure, second figure. In this figure what I have drawn? Here I have drawn the two diagonals. Okay, two diagonals I have drawn. So here also AB is equal to BC and AD is equal to CD. Understand? So this is another figure. Now this I am telling about this figure. So here you see AC, one diagonal I have drawn, and this is the another diagonal. So from the structure of the kite, who is the bigger diagonal? The two diagonals are different length. Okay, they are different length, and this BD is the bigger diagonal, and this AC is the smaller diagonal. Okay, so that is only written here. AC is the smaller diagonal and BD is the bigger diagonal. The two length of the two diagonals are different. One is bigger, one is smaller. Now the next line you see, the bigger diagonal bisects the smaller diagonal. That is, this bigger diagonal BD cuts the smaller diagonal into two equal sides. Understand? That means this distance OA. Okay, so this OA is equal to this distance OC. So that is also a property from kite. Understand? So the bigger diagonal bisects. What do you mean by bisects? Bisects means it divides equally. So the bigger diagonal divides the smaller diagonal into two equal parts. So what you can say, this distance OA is equal to this distance OC. So this is the middle point, I have marked O. Okay. So OA, this distance equal to OC. Understood? So that is also a property. The bigger diagonal bisects the smaller diagonal into two equal halves. Next property is diagonals are perpendicular to each other. What do you mean by perpendicular? They cut at right angle. Okay, when two lines cut at 90 degree, intersect at 90 degree, they are called perpendicular. So here these two diagonals are perpendicular to each other. That is, the angle between them is 90 degrees. Okay, so that is also a property of a kite. Now the last one, in the second figure, that is in this figure, in the second figure, triangle ABC and triangle ADC are isosceles triangles. You see triangle ABC, this one, this top triangle, and this bottom triangle is called ADC. So why they are isosceles triangles? Because in this triangle ABC, two sides are equal. Similarly, in this bottom down triangle ADC, these two sides are equal. And you know, in a triangle when two sides are equal, it is called isosceles triangle. So always in a kite, when you consider this up triangle and bottom triangle, they will be what type of triangles? Isosceles triangles. Okay. So read all these properties so that you will be very thorough about the different types of quadrilaterals. So trapezium also there are properties, and in kite also there are some different properties are there. So all you want to read and understand. Okay, and also read your textbook. In that textbook different activities are given so that you will be very clear about these properties. Okay. Now children, come to the next quadrilateral. What you are going to see is parallelograms. Okay, parallelograms. Have you heard of parallelograms before? Yes, you have learned before that a parallelogram is also a quadrilateral. Okay, so now we are going to study more about this parallelogram and what are the properties about parallelogram. And this quadrilateral is a very important quadrilateral. You have to learn more properties here, and you have to do many problems also. So all of you listen very carefully. What are parallelograms? A parallelogram is a quadrilateral. The opposite sides of the parallelogram are parallel. Okay, again here parallel sides are coming. And you see in trapezium there was only one pair of parallel sides. And what is the difference in parallelogram is there are two pairs. Okay, the opposite sides. Opposite sides means you see in this figure ABCD is a quadrilateral where the opposite sides are AB and CD opposite, AD and BC opposite. Okay, so this opposite sides are parallel to each other. That is the meaning. That means you see AB is parallel to CD. Okay, AB parallel to CD, and this side AD parallel to this BC. Okay, so that is the condition for a parallelogram. The opposite sides are parallel. Okay, so here you can write this here: AB parallel to CD and AD parallel to BC. So all of you write this notes properly and understand. Okay, so a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with the opposite sides parallel to each other. Now see the properties. What are the before properties? You see some things you want to learn from here. AB and CD are opposite sides, correct? This AB and CD, they are opposite sides. Similarly, AD and BC are another pair of opposite sides. Okay, now what is the next point? Here you want angle A and angle C. Okay, angle A is this angle. Angle A and angle C. Angle B and angle D. That is angle B. I am giving another symbol, angle B and angle D. Okay, two lines, two curves I am giving so that to differentiate them. So angle A is opposite to angle C and angle B is opposite to angle D. Okay, so that is only told here. Angle A and angle C, angle B and angle D are two pairs of opposite angles. Okay, so they are opposite angles. Then AB and BC are adjacent sides. You see, AB and BC, because they have a common vertex B, they are adjacent sides. Okay, similarly you see BC and CD, they have a common vertex C, so they are also adjacent sides. So in a parallelogram you want to know all this. What are opposite angles, what are adjacent sides, what are opposite sides. So that I have written like this. Okay, then the last point, angle A and angle B. Okay, now you see, so first you told about opposite angles. Now you see angle A, angle B. They are joined by a common edge. Understand? So they are what angles? Adjacent angles. Okay, they are consecutive angles. So here how many consecutive angles you can find out? Angle A and angle B, then B and C. B and C are consecutive, then C and D. Angle C and angle D are consecutive, then angle A and D. A and D. So all these are adjacent angles. Okay, so these are the features you can see in the parallelogram. There are opposite angles, there are adjacent angles, there are adjacent sides, there are opposite sides. So all this you want to learn thoroughly. Okay, now we are going to the properties of parallelogram. So properties of a parallelogram, listen. First property, the opposite sides of a parallelogram are of equal length. So you already know that in opposite sides are parallel, but according to the property of parallelogram, the length also are equal. Okay, the opposite sides of parallelogram length are equal. Therefore what you can write? Therefore what are the opposite sides? AB and CD. AB equal to CD. They are equal length. Okay, they are equal length. And what is the other side? AD equal to BC. So this is the very important property of a parallelogram. The opposite sides are parallel also, equal also. Okay, in definition we are telling the opposite sides of the parallelogram are parallel, and here we studied a property, the opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal length. That means their length are also equal. Okay, so they are equal in length. What do you mean by that? If AB is equal to 10 centimeter, then CD is also equal to 10 centimeter. So that is meant by equal length. Their length is also equal. Okay, so that is the first property. Now come to the second property. Now children, see the second property of a parallelogram. Here also I have drawn that figure ABCD. Now what is the second property? The opposite angles of a parallelogram are of equal measure. The opposite angles, already you know what are the opposite angles. Angle A is opposite to angle C and angle B is opposite to angle D. So that opposite angles are equal measure. So they are also equal. So therefore what conclusion we are getting? Measure of angle A equal to measure of angle C. Correct? These two are equal measure. And what about the other two? Measure of angle B equal to measure of angle D. Understand? So this is also an important property. the opposite angles of a parallelogram are equal. Okay, now the third property, the adjacent angles in a parallelogram are supplementary. Okay, supplementary means the sum is 180 degrees. So the adjacent angles are supplementary. So what you can say adjacent angles? What are the adjacent angles here? A and B are adjacent, B and C are adjacent, C and D are adjacent, A and D are adjacent. So when you take the sum of these adjacent angles, it must be supplementary. So how you can write? Therefore, yes, measure of angle A plus angle B, they are adjacent angles equal to 180 degree. Their sum is 180 degree. Other one pair, if you are taking measure of angle B plus measure of angle C is 180 degree, correct? So they are adjacent angles. And if you are taking this pair, what you can write? Measure of angle C plus measure of angle D is 180 degree. And what about the last pair, A and D? Measure of angle A plus measure of angle D is also 180 degree. Understand? So what is the meaning of this? In a parallelogram, the adjacent angle is always supplementary. Understood, children? Now come to the fourth property. The diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. Okay. So in a parallelogram, the diagonals, how many diagonals we can draw in a parallelogram? Yes, we can draw two diagonals. From B to D, we can draw one diagonal, and A to C, we can draw another diagonal. Okay, so two diagonals are there in a parallelogram, and what is the result? The diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. If you consider this intersecting point as O, okay, the meeting point of these two diagonals is O. It is given they bisect each other. Bisect each other means they divide equally. Okay, one diagonal divide the other diagonal into two equal parts. Means this side will be equal to this one and this will be equal to this one. Okay, so this diagonal AC divides this BD into equal parts. Similarly, BD divides AC into two equal parts. So how can you write here? Therefore, if the diagonals are bisecting each other, what lengths are equal? This OA will be equal to OC. Therefore, OA equal to OC, and what about the other diagonal? This AC will divide BD also into two equal parts. That is OB equal to OD. Understood? So that is the meaning. The diagonals of the parallelogram divides each of them. That is, they divide equally. Okay. So that is the meaning of this OA equal to OC, OB equal to OD. That is about the properties of parallelogram, children. Now using these properties we need to apply in many problems. So this is the first problem. This is a very simple problem. This is the just the basic concept what you have studied from all the polygons. So what is the question here? Find the perimeter of the parallelogram ABCD. Okay, find the perimeter of the parallelogram ABCD where two lengths are given. AB equal to 12 centimeter. You know AB, this is 12 centimeter, and BC is 7 centimeter. So because this is a parallelogram, you can put this symbol. These two sides are parallel and these two sides are, give another symbol, they are parallel. Okay, so this is a parallelogram and this side and this side only given. We need to find the perimeter. What do you mean by perimeter, children? Perimeter means the sum of the sides, or of, that is, the length of the boundary is called perimeter. So here what property we want to use here? Only this side and this side are given. So how can you find out the remaining sides? Yes, because we know that opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal. AB value is equal to CD and BC value is equal to AD. So just we can add all the sides and find the perimeter. Okay, the problem is very simple. So how to start the problem? Given AB equal to 12 centimeter. So this implies, yes, AB is equal to CD. So CD is also equal to 12 centimeter. Similarly, given BC equal to 7 centimeter. So that implies the opposite side AD is also 7 centimeter. Okay, you know why? What is the reason? Because this is a parallelogram. Opposite sides are equal. Understand? Yes. Now what do you want to do? Therefore, perimeter. As usual, we want to add all the sides to find the length of the boundary. So that is, what are the four sides? AB plus BC plus CD plus AD. Put the values 12 plus 7 plus 12 plus 7. Okay. So it's very easy to add. 12 plus 12, 24. 7 plus 7, 14. So what is the total? 4 plus 4, 8. 2 plus 1, 3. Okay. Because the unit is given in centimeter, you need to write here centimeters. Okay, so that is the answer. 38 centimeter is the perimeter of this parallelogram. Okay, so these are the topics discussed in this video, and you are having some homework also. Try to finish the homework and complete all the notes and write the properties very clearly. Draw the figure also with pencil neatly do your notes. Okay, write the notes very neatly and understand all these concepts. And in the next class we will study more about parallelograms and more applications we will study. Okay children, so that is for today's class. So do all the things correctly and send your works properly to your teachers. Okay, all of you complete the homework from the exercise 3.3. Thank you children. See you in the next class.